What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Talk Punch. I am Brody, joined by Tudong Dylan.
Hey.
And Charlie McCharlie Pants Hickman.
I just have nothing to say. Nothing to say to that. All right.
Thank you
I
so
like
much.
it. I like it.
Oh, good. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, we love interacting with you guys in the comments, so please make sure you're kind down there, be respectful, all that stuff. And while you're here, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening in on the audio version of the podcast, wherever you might get your podcast, make sure you go ahead and smash the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and then come back here every Wednesday to see what we're talking about. Kind of like this week's topic, we are ranking our, I have to word this correctly, top 3 cartoons for adults. Is that okay? I don't want to say top 3 adult cartoons. That doesn't sound right.
Top cartoons for adults. That's what they are. Adult cartoons.
Adult cartoons. Adult cartoons doesn't sound right. Cartoons for adults.
Number 1 might shock you.
At least Dylan's will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we are doing top 3 cartoons that are made for adults. Right? Based on TV. So these aren't movies. These aren't theatrical things. They're not TV movies. They're cartoons that are released in little segments, 22 minutes, most of them, right?
Right.
Charlie, this is right up your alley.
You're doing great.
This is the TV episode. I don't know what all these are. These are the ones that I have a hard time with. But I'm trying to accommodate Charlie because he loves watching TV more than movies. And so every once in a while, I have to say, yeah, we can do a TV episode. And then I build my list. And then I build my list. And I'm like, I have no idea what to pick. And then Charlie's like, I had a really hard time narrowing these down. And I'm like, got it.
I could have gone an easy 20 on this one.
Yeah.
So this explains why you're giving me a mean nickname, Charlie McCharlie Pants, making me do this stupid TV list.
No, I was thinking
Charlie
of like a
Pants.
cartoony type name. Charlie
Okay.
McCharlie Pants. Was that a mean one? I didn't mean for it to be a mean one.
I'm not offended. It just makes sense now where it came from because you were like, this jerk making us watch TV. I could be watching a 2-hour and 45-minute movie instead.
Yeah, man. Hey, give me a 3.5-hour Christopher Nolan movie. I'm good.
Ooh. Yeah.
All right. How did you guys build these lists? Charlie, you just picked them out of your bucket of cartoons for adults.
I did. But I will say, and this is important, I did not include any anime because it just complicates things way too much. My list is anime free. And these are based on, just strictly on my enjoyment of these TV shows. I had a hard time narrowing it down, so I'll talk a little bit more about my methodology as I reveal my list.
Okay.
But there were some tiebreakers that I had to employ. This really could easily, we talk sometimes about doing things in tiers. My number 1 to my number 3, it's very razor thin. It's not like there's big gaps between 1, 2, and 3. They're all wonderful, my favorites. And number 4 even is right there with them. So it feels bad to leave it off. So we'll talk more about that, I'm sure. But this was a hard list to narrow down. There's so many good shows. I'm gonna convince you to watch some shows today, people.
All right, sounds good. Dylan, how'd you build this list?
I went with my enjoyability, like how much I enjoyed it, but I also went with not in the triple X version of adult, but things that were.
What's the point?
Because
they having that.
I thought to myself, these don't really seem like adult. Made for adults, and some of them like these they get more adult as you go on the list. And number 1 is, none of these are going to really shock you, but number 1 shocked me because with some of the, it's not graphic, but some of the things that are said, I'm like, whoa, yeah, that would, if we were going purely adults, then that's number 1 and it'll shock you. Shock me, at least. It won't shock you, but I basically went I focused on the adult part of the cartoon.
Yeah, you did.
Go. And for me, these are 3 cartoons for adults that I have seen.
I was going to say that's going to be 100% the criteria. I've seen it.
Therefore, it is on my list. I saw a couple episodes.
It counts. It counts.
Oh, Brody. I bet I can name your 3, but I'm not gonna. No spoilers here.
I don't know if you could. You could
We'll
probably
find out.
you could probably name 2 of my 3. I don't think you'll get my number 3.
Oh, okay. Let's. So who's going first?
Speaking of number 3s, I'm up. So Charlie, take a guess.
Okay. Now, did you like? Are we doing like Batman the animated series type stuff, or did you try to avoid like tossing in something that you've already talked about on a cartoon show?
I didn't think of Batman the animated series as a cartoon for adults.
Okay, good. Okay, I mean, you're an adult who watches it, so I just didn't know.
I don't think it was made for adults, though.
Well, I mean, adults like it, kids like it.
All
Is
right,
it The Simpsons?
No, it's not. No.
Okay, but you've seen that, and that didn't make your list.
It didn't.
That's confusing. It did make your list.
You know, it did make my list. Axe Cop.
Oh, I should have known. Oh, I forgot about Axe Cop.
This is such a good one. I don't know if this is actually like just made for adults. Kids could probably watch this, right? I mean, he does chop people's heads off, and that's his thing. I will chop your head off. This show is so funny. It is so funny. I read the comic books. Charlie, I think I bought this comic book for you one year.
You did. It's
You
wild.
So if you're not familiar with what Axe Cop is, it started as a comic book. You have a professional comic book artist who went to his like 7-year-old brother or something like that and said, "Hey, write me a script." And so his younger brother, much younger, like a little kid, wrote this out, and he just drew whatever his brother wrote down. And so this stuff is ridiculous. You have Axe Cop who only uses an axe and chops people's heads off. You get a T-Rex that has machine guns for arms. You know, the show had the sidekick for Axe Cop is Flute Cop, and he can play the flute. You know, he goes on night missions and he puts on a cat outfit. Oh, it is so fun. They fly to the moon. They go to different planets. They have just ridiculous characters, but it's so funny. It's so funny. This is one that I want to rewatch because I need to see if I can show my kids. I don't remember how far it went in terms of content. But yeah, it's really funny. I don't even know if it's streaming anywhere. I should look that up to see if it's streaming anywhere. It's probably on Hulu because that's the one streaming service I don't have. That Charlie just loves to remind me that I don't have Hulu yet. But this, oh golly, this show is so funny. So this made my list at number 3.
Nice.
Axe Cop. I will chop your head off.
Does he say that?
He does
Nick
say that.
Offerman. Fantastic.
Yeah. Nick Offerman does the voice, and like he's the perfect voice for it. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it's a really good cast. Yeah.
All right. Tudong, you're up next.
Up next, actually, these are I didn't steer clear of any that I've already revisited, and so my number 3. It's not the most adult on this list, but it is a good, solid number 3, and that is Batman the Animated Series. This is one of the more. I mean, it moved along in line with the Michael Keaton Batman. It was made along that time. It used the same Danny Elfman score, and it had. I don't want to say similar adult themes because you don't see the Penguin be like a horny Danny DeVito towards skin-tight leather Catwoman. Not in the cartoons at least, but I do recall being like, I like seeing the other side of it. It seemed a lot more, I'm not going to say grounded, but I mean, it seemed a lot more adult. They really... I don't want to say pushed boundaries, and I never thought, they went too far, but I could kind of see how some, I wasn't really a kid when it came out. I was more like a year-old teenager, I don't know, whatever I was. And so, it wasn't like that, but I could see how if a younger kid watched it, they could get scared or, some of the bad guys could get pretty scary. No, there's nothing wrong with being scared of the bad guys, but Batman was always hardcore. Beating people down, like seriously, not like Adam West 1966, and he was hardcore too, but I mean he beat down, and it had you face even the same Batman in different, I don't want to say iterations, but the that same iteration in other because he went to Justice League and things like that, and they had one where there was a young girl who I can't remember what her powers were, but I totally remember her being on the swings with this same iteration of Batman and talking about death and just being like, this is heavy, this is deep, and I thought it was great. I've always loved this cartoon. It'll always be one of those I can always revisit whenever I can revisit it, and something that made me kind of, when I thought adult and not triple X porn adult, thinking Batman the animated series.
Now, Dylan, we did an episode.
Oh, I know, but I ranked it on how adult it is, and the other cartoons on here are more adult. Like they pushed it way further.
What was was the other episode that you didn't put this on your list, and I gave you such a hard time for?
It was on the list. It wasn't number 1. It was number 2. That's when you gave me a hard time.
Oh, was it our cartoons one?
Yeah, it was the 90s cartoons.
90s cartoons, and you didn't put this as your number 1.
Number 2 wasn't good enough, even though I gave a clue that number 1 was going to be Dragon Ball Z in the episode of the 1980s ones. But number 2's, and I knew yours would be number 1.
Charlie, can you use your left hand to just point up and put a little link, bling, right there? There it is. Top 3 90s cartoons. Check it out. Well, there you go. Nice pick, Tudong. Nice pick.
Thank you.
All right. So this was okay. Again, this was hard for me. So I ended up basing my 3. I'll talk about how I ordered my 3 when I get to my number 1.
Okay.
So that it won't be so obvious what's coming. But my number 3 is just, I think, one of the best, just straight up shows that has been on TV over the last decade plus. And if you have never seen it, it is enjoyable. Sometimes I think the factor can be a little off-putting, but cartoons are so great because you can just do so much more with the characters. You can just put them in constant danger. You can blow them up. You can have them get shot. You can just do all these crazy things, which works out really well when everyone is working at a spy agency. So my number 3 is Archer. It is just such a tremendous show. It is hilarious. It is side-splittingly funny. It's action packed. It's got great characters. If you've never seen it and you do start at the beginning, understand that every show starts a little rough in the pilot. And while I did really like the pilot the first time I saw it, it doesn't even contain some of the personalities that will become your favorite. Sure. The Kriegers and Pams that just like really just are line stealers. But it is really, really fun. It's funny. It's definitely for adults. And H. John Benjamin might be the greatest voice actor of all time. He's just fantastic. Just hilarious.
This is why we get ants.
But you know what? Every now and then, this show will pull the rug out and hit you with like an emotional note. And my goodness, I don't want to spoil things, but the last episode of the last season. Brody, did you watch the most recent season?
I haven't seen the most recent.
Oh man. Okay, so you guys know that Jessica Walter passed away, and so she voices the mother character in the show, Mallory Archer. And so they just like the tribute to her at the end of the season. Her husband, who was also a voice actor on the show, had passed away earlier, and seeing those characters together as like the sun setting and they're on a beach, man, and I'm just weeping, and I'm watching this in bed on my iPad at night, and I'm crying because it's so sweet, and she just passed away, and I just and my wife just looks over me like, "You're watching Archer? Why are you crying? Like what's wrong with you?" Just giving me such a hard time, but it's such a beautiful moment. And they're like the cancer arc in season 2 is just like one of the best arcs in television. Oh, so good. I could talk about it all night, but I won't. It is fantastic. Check it out.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. Moving on to number 2. Tudong. No, me. It's me. My number 2 is Rick and Morty. I remembered it at the last moment. Yeah, this is so I came in way late to this show. I just started watching this. Oh golly, Charlie, when was I down there last? 2 years ago?
2014.
No, come on now. I want to say probably 2 years ago.
Brody never visits.
I do visit. It's hard.
Brody he never visits.
Hey, saying, you see any of
Hey, if
that.
you had portal gun technology, you could be here all the time.
That's very true. I wish I had portal gun technology. So I came into this show like 2 years ago. I just kept hearing like, oh, Rick and Morty this, and seeing stuff, on YouTube channels that I follow when they're talking about Rick and Morty, or I see the t-shirts and I'm like, okay, like clearly this show has something going on that adults are enjoying, and it's kind of like this geeky culture that we're a part of that seem to really like this show. So finally I was able to get onto HBO, and so I started watching it, and then I just kind of like plowed through the whole thing and watched all the seasons. So I'm completely caught up, and it's really funny. And it's funny, and you got like just this whole array of episodes because they're all like totally different, and so you have completely different formats, and you have some that are pretty sad, and you have some that are just really funny, and some that are you're all over the place watching this show. You can watch, I would, watch a couple episodes at a time, and, you can feel one way about one episode, and then it goes like a completely different direction in the whole next episode. So but they're all like really funny and really pretty smart, in how they're handling this sci-fi and space travel and time travel and aliens and all this stuff. It's out there, but I really enjoyed this show. And this is, for me who doesn't watch a whole lot of TV, to find a show and kind of go through it as quickly as I did. That's something about the show. So I really enjoyed this one.
I don't know if you guys have read about it or not, but there's going to be a Rick and Morty anime that's coming.
Oh, really?
Like just a straight up anime featuring Rick and Morty, and it's coming, I think, to Adult Swim and HBO. I think either end of this year or next year, as well as season 6 dropping. This is a great show. You got to watch it. It's hilarious.
Dylan, you would like
really
this show. You would like this show.
And like the pilot's fine, but it doesn't take long for this to really pick up steam. So give it a few episodes.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yep.
Okay, I will. I'll give it a couple of episodes.
No, you're such a jerk. All right.
It bro-
Unbelievable.
All right, Tudong.
well, all right. Well, my number 2 is the first actual and probably only animated cartoon for adults. I'm assuming for adults that I have seen a person actually split right in half, and from their perspective as it happens, and that is Dragon Ball Z. I have talked about this before. I even wore a shirt about it. Although Vegeta is great standing over there, he's angry as it doesn't even care. Everybody's at least a foot taller than he is, even the kids. Ah, it's so great. Very violent. At first, I saw that on a list because I was like, cartoons for adults, and I saw it on the list. I'm like, no, and then I realized that was the first and only, cartoon that I've seen somebody from their perspective as they get sliced right in half and then cut pieces, and all sorts of actual fight scenes that are like just beating people, blasting them into ashes, cutting them to pieces. It's pretty much on the violent side, especially if you watch the original Japanese version. It is especially violent. Not in a way that is, off-putting, at least I think. It's not like it's hyper realistic or anything. But I cannot take away from the fact that, it's pretty adult. When you look at it and you're like, well, this is for kids and it's fun and it's lighthearted. And then you get to some of the situations, which might be a little more adult, but you get to some fight scenes that are very adult. And it is a blast to watch. It is super fun. I can always revisit these, even though it is very on the adult side. It's much more adult than Batman the Animated Series because of what they could have shown, and they did show, and they even alluded to, and even just the violence. So it's not breaking new ground, but my number 2 cartoons for adults, Dragon Ball Z. Sleek, cool, absolutely violent, and a lot of fun.
How many seasons did this go for?
See, it's funny because they had it more like in sagas where there was, because they even had like a Dragon Ball where it was just that, and it was very much for kids. And even like the lead guy who's standing next to the purple-haired kid, one of his hands is on like his hips like this, and his arms.
I know who Goku is.
Well, I didn't know if you know who he was. Sorry, Goku. Anyways, a lot of people now know.
Brody, look at you, Brody.
Surprise too, kid. Surprise. But anyways, now that it came to America, a lot of people see it. But when he was a kid, when they just did Dragon Ball, it was a lot more like just for kids. So he grows up, and then they made it a lot more serious. Like they made the fight scenes a lot more intense. I don't know if they amped up any of the usual sexuality that they put in animes in that particular time period, but they were there too. And they did sagas after that, like different, like I'm not sure. I'm not as familiar with the English spoken part of the franchise as the actual one in Japanese, where it was tense. But it goes on for a while, and they started doing another one, Dragon Ball like Super or something like that. So I mean, it's still going in many ways. But excellent show, a lot of fun. If you were gonna watch an anime or a cartoon for adults, and you like fight scenes, and you like anime, and you like mythical, like it comes from the Monkey King from China myth. I mean, where they come from another planet and all that kind of stuff. It's really a lot of fun to watch. Not a hard thing to watch either. It's not like super complicated, like some Macross series. Like you could put it on, you watch, hey, they're training for something. What are they training for? We don't know just yet. We'll find out, or they'll show us what they're training for, and then next thing you know, we'll see them actually fighting for whatever they've been training for. It really, really cool.
Nice. Cool. All right. I've never seen it, but
really fun.
Take your word for it. All right, Charlie, you're number 2.
All right, so this was a tough one to put at number 2. It's because of how much I love it, but this show is. Bear with me here because there's a little bit of a saga. The year was 1999, and a brand new cartoon debuts from the creators of The Simpsons, taking place in the year 3000.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
So the show is Futurama, featuring Bender or Blender. Hilarious wordplay on my shirt, Blender. It's very good. Jokes like that all over the show. When this debuted, I actually watched the pilot, and I was like, man, it's okay. And then I picked it up on DVD later, just because I'd heard it was really good. And again, I want to give this another try. And I watched it and I just fell in love with it. This is fantastic. And, it was on for 5 glorious years, and it just kept getting better. And I mentioned with Archer, there was some like heart-jerking episodes. My goodness, this show has these heartstring episodes that just are absolutely devastating. And there's stuff like it's hard to even watch. My goodness, there's like a Central Bark episode that is just like about his dog, and it's just the saddest piece of television that has ever existed. It will hollow out your soul. So watch it. It's really you should definitely watch that. But it's funny. It's hard, and then it gets canceled, and I'm like devastated. All right, well, it was 5 good years, and then all of a sudden 5 years later they're like, hey, we're gonna make some movies. So they make 4 movies.
Wow.
It'll come out in 2008, 2009. There's four Futurama movies. And all of a sudden, Comedy Central's like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring the show back. So then in 2010, it's back again. So all of a sudden, the show's reborn. And here we are again. We're picking up season 7, taking place after these like 4 movies. So if you go like on IMDb, the movies end up being like season 6. It's not really a season. It's just the movies. But so then we get season 7. And then it goes all the way to season 10. And it has the most beautiful finale in 2013. And I think, what a beautiful finale. We've talked about the finale before. It's one of my favorite TV show finales of all time. Just beautiful, heartwarming stuff. But now Hulu's bringing it back. So it's coming back again in 2023. There's going to be more Futurama. I'm so excited. The show will not die because it is so good. The only thing that doesn't make any sense is why people keep trying to kill it in the first place. It's fantastic. It could have been on since 99 to 2023. We could have had all of these glorious episodes, and instead there's these gaps. Just when the show is humming and making these brilliant episodes, it gets this giant 5-year interruption. And then now we got a 10-year interruption. And they just keep bringing it back because it's really, really good. The voice actors are all fantastic. The humor, the writing, the characters. It's such a rich, beautiful universe because it's literally the entire universe of all planets in existence. So there's an endless amount of stories that can be told. But man, the love episodes, the Fry Leela stuff, it is really, really good. There's some wonderful family stuff. It'll warm the cockles of your heart. The very cockles, sir. But it'll make you laugh. Look, there's a lot of episodes here. 150 episodes.
Oh,
This is a tough one. It's a tough one to get into if you've never seen it and you don't want to commit to that many. So I've mentioned before to you, Brody, and I'm making this commitment to you too, people, if you're watching this. You're saying, Charlie, I'd like to watch some Futurama, but I don't want to watch all Futurama. I will make for you an episode must-watch list. I will do it. 20 episodes that will make you watch the rest of the episodes when you're done anyway.
Give him a deadline. Give him a deadline.
Well, you got to ask. I'm just going to put it out there for no one to use.
I'll do it.
But if anybody wants it, I will create.
I want it.
I will curate. All right, I will curate one for you, Brody. It is really good, and you should watch the pilot because the pilot's pretty good.
Can we get 10?
Oh my gosh, you're killing me, bro. I'm not gonna start. You're not gonna engage me on this. You watched a James Bond movie the other night. You could watch 20 episodes in the same amount of time it took you to watch one James Bond movie.
Still can't believe you didn't ask me about which one to watch, bro.
Oh.
Right. Charlie, I just have one question. Did you like this series?
This series? No. It was terrible. No, I don't like TV shows or animated TV shows at all.
Your favorite moment on this show?
On Futurama or on Talk Talk Punch?
Futurama.
The finale.
The finale, the 2013 finale, I think is so beautiful and just has like some of these really heartfelt, romantic, and it was right in the courtship, right in the square in the heart of the courtship of my wife and I. It's a very, very meaningful episode and just a beautiful portrait of love, I think, and a fun, but funny and very witty and subversive all at the same time. Good stuff.
Which finale was that? Like, which season ender was that?
It's season 10, the 2013. But I wouldn't start with that because you're not going to care about the characters.
No.
So should definitely work your way up, so that you're invested a little bit before you watch the end. But it is really beautiful. It's a good show.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're moving on to the number ones. My number one has already been mentioned. It's a crossover. Charlie, do you know what it is?
Yes. Put that Archer on the screen. Put it up.
It's Archer. Yeah, this show it made my number one because I really like this show. It's really funny. I really enjoy watching it. I'm not all the way caught up. But and it's very adult. This is not one for the kids at all. But it also doesn't take things too far. So it kind of walks this line of being adult and not taking things too far. So yeah, I really enjoy it. This one just makes me laugh so much. And I really need to go in and catch up. I'm not caught up.
Where did you stop?
I don't know.
Do you remember? So they went through a series of themed
It was the
seasons?
space one, I think.
Oh, that's okay. So you're not. That's season 10. You just gotta get 11, 12. No big deal.
So yeah, I gotta get caught up. I want to get caught up. I think it's on Netflix. Is it on Netflix, Charlie, or is it on Hulu?
It's definitely on Hulu.
I think it's on one of the ones that
Everything's
I don't
on Hulu.
have. I think it's one of the ones I don't have, which is why I haven't been able to watch it.
Ones you only don't have Hulu, bro.
Well,
but I'm telling you,
I only temporarily have Netflix just because I'm catching up on some shows, and then I'm gonna cancel again. But yeah, this is a great one. It's totally an adult show, and I enjoy it, and it makes me laugh, and it makes me happy, and even my wife enjoys this one, so we get to watch this one together. It's great. Go watch it.
Good one.
Well said, bro. Well said.
Well, thank you.
Charlie said it all.
I know. Charlie said most of it. You guys are really passionate about these.
I love me some Archer.
I just really like these shows, so that's what I'm doing. All right. Also, we're getting a little short on time. So, Tudong, you're number one.
My number one, and it's not going to come as any surprise, as it was on a previous cartoon list, and that is an adult themed. Anyways, Family Guy. You cannot tell me that you have ever heard something. All right, I didn't really watch this. I may have seen a couple of episodes or something like that. And then when I was with my wife was watching it, and I thought maybe I'll try and watch it and see what she's laughing about. And this is one of those things. This and probably Frasier probably are the first times we were ever to have entertainment industry or entertainment kind of style inside jokes. We both watch this show separately and together, and there's so many times I'll be watching it and I'll just be like, "Oh my gosh! Like I can't believe what I'm hearing right now." They actually just said this, and this is on Fox, like a network show. I don't know. I mean, I've only watched it on streaming, so I mean, I have no idea if that's actually how it's aired. But it's just so funny, and the episodes do really kind of run together, but they're always really fun and entertaining and funny somehow. Jokes, even that you kind of expect sometimes, still end up. I don't know how it happens. Somehow, very gratifying. I think it's very creative, and I think I'm shocked at how long it's been going on, and a lot of the things they've done and said. But it's still so fun to watch, and some of the characters, all of them are horrible people, still are just fantastic. And so yeah, no, this TV show is one of the only ones that ever. Because I thought, oh, well, maybe South Park, but I've only caught sporadic episodes. Maybe I thought maybe Simpsons, but I never really found that very adult, at least the earlier ones. But this one has shocked me even to this day, where I'm like, I can't believe they just said this. Like, this is, jeez. So easily the most adult-themed cartoon, or just adult cartoon, is definitely Family Guy. I love my wife.
I've never watched this before.
Give it a try. It's really, really funny, bro. It's one of those.
How many seasons is this? This has got to be going on forever.
Yeah, I don't think about it.
This one got canceled and they brought it back and then didn't keep canceling it and bringing it back. It just got to run. So it's been on for like 20 years now or something ridiculous.
No way. Nope. There's no way. Sorry. Can't do it.
Bro, give it a season. It's pretty fun, I think.
A season?
It's only 390 episodes, bro.
Oh. No, can't do it. Bro, sorry. I'll take your word for it.
If you want to watch just watch the Star Wars parodies. That's all. They're funny. You can get a taste of the humor, and it's all Star Wars references, and you'd only have to watch 3 episodes, and so
I could do that.
They're really fun too, bro.
Really, it's good stuff. Star Wars stuff. It's good.
They were like, we're gonna have to ask permission for this one. You guys have been doing this for so much. We gotta ask permission, and they got John Williams in the score. Although it's really, I mean, it is shocking at some points, but like the work that they put into it is also shocking. I mean, like it looks like you look at it and you're like, oh, the animation's ridiculous, it's stupid, it's this. They have a full orchestra. I didn't know this. My wife was like, they have a full orchestra. Like you can hear it in the like later seasons. Not even later, like the middle to later seasons. And it's an excellent piece of actual art and can be exceedingly raunchy.
Interesting.
And my wife's shocked she watched this. I was like, you watched this? This is your television show corrupting me?
My goodness. Trying to corrupt Tudong. All right. Charlie?
Look, my number one, and so I said, so part of my methodology here, because I have just some favorites, is like probably the opposite or reverse of the methodology that you might want to use, bro. I gave more bonus points to the more episodes there were. And so Archer had 135 episodes, Futurama 150. And my number one show on the list here has 238 total episodes. And it's also the one that's the most closely related to my current life stage. And that's Bob's Burgers. It is the tale of H. John Benjamin voicing the character of Bob. He's fantastic. There's even an Archer Bob's Burger crossover episode. Delightful. But he's got these 3 kids, and he works in a restaurant. And this is one that when my wife and I watch it, we like to point at each other when one of the characters does something that the other character, that's you over there, and then we point at each other, and it's a lot of fun. But there's, we go back and forth. Sometimes I'm Bob, sometimes I'm Linda, and sometimes she's Bob, and sometimes she's Linda. There's a fantastic episode where they're arguing over who snores the loudest, and they put a tape recorder in the room, and they're both just snoring and farting, and they're like, oh, this is gross, and we're just laughing. My wife and I have had similar conversations, and we're just pointing fingers, and the kids do something, and we're like, it's like our kids, and so it's the most relatable by far of all the ones on my list. And as far as like a family sitcom goes, it's presented in, I think, the like Futurama, Archer. There's a lot of not so much in Archer, but Futurama for sure. There's a lot of pop culture references.
Okay.
So like having like a base knowledge of the world around you really helps build the comedy within the show. And then that those kind of jokes don't age as well, because it's like 20 years later, I don't really remember what was happening in 2002 around in movies. This one doesn't rely on that. The characters are more grounded. It's more about family, and the characters are kind of wacky and stuff, but in like a way that's more realistic. So just kind of it just all grounds itself really well. No pun intended on the ground meat to make the hamburgers. But you just root for them. They're such a lovable family. I think it's a wonderful show. You could watch some of these episodes with your kids. Certainly you could. I have. I'm not saying that Brody you should, but probably you should. Especially as the show goes on, I think it kind of finds its way. It's just my favorite thing. The movie just came out. Movie's fantastic. Movie's very funny. They do a lot of singing and kind of musical stuff in this one too. I love the music stuff. Whenever that gets tossed in there. But like Tina is such an iconic character, and just like they're all so such wonderful, bright characters. I just love them. So if you have not seen this show, you should watch it. If you've seen just a few episodes and you're like, it's okay, just watch all 238 and then watch the movie. It's not a big deal. It'll take you like 2 hours to get through 238 episodes. It's fine, and it'll make you want to eat a hamburger. It's great. He hates sweet potato fries. It just speaks to my soul, man. Sweet potato fries. I cannot do it. My wife loves sweet potato fries.
I love sweet potato fries.
I know you're exactly the kind of person that Bob would hate. No, I'm just kidding.
Now watch the show, bro.
Yeah, no. But he goes in these old man rants every now and then, and you just be like, oh, that's so Charlie. There's an episode where he's like looking for something in his car, and he just kind of like falls asleep while he's looking for it, and it's just like I've never felt more seen than like in that episode where he's just like crawling around trying to find something. He's like, whoa, it's really warm here. I'm just gonna close my eyes for a little bit. It's like, oh gosh, I know that's my whole life. I'm so tired all the time. Bob, you get me.
And this had how many episodes?
238.
What is that in seasons? Is that like
so it's season 13. And there's another season coming. In the fall. Season 13 is coming in the fall, I should say. So I don't know how many years it's still signed up for, but it's still going strong. I think the movie was pretty successful as far as animated movies go. So
I heard good things about the movies.
Yeah, it's very funny. And look, this is not a show I think that you need to see all of the episodes to appreciate like the movie or things like that. But I would say having some baseline appreciation of the characters, because you want to root for them and the family, having some idea of the lore, because while the episodes aren't like interlocked and connected, there are like recurring jokes and themes and characters and stuff that little Easter eggs that if you've watched a lot of the episodes, it does make them more enjoyable. So. Very funny show, and especially I'm talking to a couple of dads here. You two, it's a good one to make you laugh about the kids that you have. So it's good stuff.
Nice. And this one's on HBO Max, right?
It's on Hulu, isn't it?
It's on Hulu. It might also the movie is on HBO Max. I don't know if any of the show episodes are on HBO, but now that Hulu's a sponsor of the show, bro, maybe we can get you a free subscription.
Yeah, that'd be. All right.
And Rick and Morty, by the way, didn't make my list barely by a razor thin margin. Only 61 episodes. So, and that's including like the fall. It's really only 60 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming around. Very short.
That's why I liked it, because it's short.
I know. It works for you.
It does. All right. Well, we went a little bit longer on this one. You guys have any last thoughts on this?
Hey, if you guys want an episode guide, hit us up in the comments for any of these TV shows. If you want to know which Dragon Ball Z episodes to watch, or Batman the Animated Series, or any of the good shows from my list, let me know. I'm just teasing. All your shows were fantastic. And I got a list of 11 that didn't make the cut. So if you guys want to get some of those,
Jeez.
Jeez.
I won't bore you, but we could do a whole solo. Maybe I'll do a whole solo pod episode.
There you go.
My love of animated television. All right,
Charlie's top 100. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. Challenge accepted.
There we go.
All right. Well, you let us know if you want to hear 100 TV shows that I've watched in my lifetime. That sounds like so much fun. Well, we love being with you, and we are more animated because we know you're here with us. So we appreciate you coming on this journey and watching us talk about these wonderful shows. Let us know what your favorite animated TV shows are, adult or otherwise. You can click on that link to watch our 90s TV shows, or just know that Dylan's were the exact same. All three. So click that like and subscribe, and we will look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye.